are on.
I get it.
Another great movie,
Stay
by the
classy,
way.
San Diego. A lot of great movies. All right, so welcome to the podcast studio, Gold's Trainers.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
But a lot of testosterone in here today. I like it.
Just a little bit. Just a little
That
bit.
was a lot of it. Travis, you seem to be the most talkative guy of the group.
That's it, man.
That's it. How long have you been at Gold's?
It's 8 months.
8 months.
Give or take.
So you started at Gold's 8 months ago. We started with Gold's August of 2021. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds
Yeah,
good.
we're gonna have our 2-year anniversary this year. Did you train somewhere else before you were at Gold's?
Yeah, I just did one-on-one sessions or team sessions at like a private gym with athletes specifically.
Why'd you leave? Better question. Why did you want to come to Gold's?
Better opportunity,
What was the opportunity?
more money, more hours.
Are you just telling me things I want to hear? Or you?
No, I'm like, well, okay, so the downfall was obviously I'm not going to work with a specific group of people, aka athletes, right? So I left that to go work there. Still working with athletes. I'd say maybe like 10% of the time.
Right.
But when I work with those athletes, it's like, that's my niche group, right? That's where I see myself going in the future.
Okay.
Athletes, right? Strength and conditioning.
So you're looking for a pay cut. I can't wait to go be an intern again. Okay.
Yeah, in a sense, but that's where like, so yes, that's
Do
why I went to
Do you
go.
see yourself staying in New York when you do that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Okay. So you've been at Gold's for 8 months.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to work our way around the room. We usually do a 2-person podcast with me being one of them. So today what we'll do is some brief introductions, how long you've been there, and we'll get some lay of the land, and then we'll talk about what it's been like. So you've been there for 8 months. How many sessions do you do in a week right now?
Give or take 20 to 25. It varies.
20 to 25. How long did it take you to get to 20, 25 sessions a week? Okay,
four or
so let
5
me ask you
months.
this a simpler way.
Yeah.
Full-time pay at Gold's is what, 79 sessions a month? 78?
80.
80.
Okay, I should know these things. 80 sessions a month. How long did it take you to hit full-time pay working 80 sessions a month? You got there 5 months ago. How many months in did you do that?
Again, it's like weird because I'll get there, right? 80
Up and down.
and then it's up. It's up and down.
What's the first month you hit it?
It was not too long ago, like February maybe or January.
I will say February.
No, I
Yeah,
thought it was December. He did 96.
I don't even. It
Anyways.
fluctuates like
Yeah.
it's insane. Anyways.
Okay, but that's okay. So you got to full-time on average within 2.5, 3 months.
Yeah.
And now
Granted.
keeping it there is what you struggle with the most. We'll talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Rob, you've been there how long?
6 years now.
6 years now.
Yep.
What made you want to go work in a big box gym like the one you're at?
Well, I was always in big box gyms.
Where were you before Gold's?
So I was at Crunch in Poughkeepsie.
Okay.
And then I was also at a more of a mom and pop gym, but it was considered a big box gym called Determined Fitness in Poughkeepsie as well.
Okay. And what drew you to Gold's?
It was just a better opportunity. The gym in Poughkeepsie, the mom and pop one, had like a really bad shift in ownership. The owner put his girlfriend as the manager and got rid of the actual manager who went to school for managing fitness facilities. So the
There's a school for that?
Believe it or not, yeah. There's like
Wow.
I think it's considered like recreation and something else.
Okay.
And so the writing was on the wall to get out. And I had a client at the time that I had a really good transformation with, was going to Gold as a member. He's like, you should come check it out. And I did, and went through the interview process, met Don, and then I was there. So I was just looking for a better opportunity.
Your client was the interview process.
Yeah, Jason was the interview
Jason was
process.
like, Rob made me lose all this weight, and Don was like, bring him in.
Yeah, that's basically how it went.
That's great. What that means to me is that you've been there for longer than 6 years.
Yeah.
How long you been there?
Been there for about 8 years now.
Okay. What made you want to go work there? And
Well-
Travis was describing before, you're basically a geriatric. What are you, 36?
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. So
I'm like the old
so
man.
you lived a whole life before that. What did you do before that?
So I've been training close to like 10 years. So I ended up in New York Sports Club in Crowan-on-the-Hudson. I was
Okay.
there for about 2 years. And at the time I was living in Beacon. I had a coworker who also lived in Beacon. He's like, I think I'm going to go to Ghost Gym Newburgh. I was like, let me know how the interview goes.
Mm-hmm.
He said, you should come over.
Nice. Have we
Alright,
since
I'll apply.
have we since fired your friend and not known about it?
No, he's still there. He's still
Okay,
there.
that's good.
Sales. He's in sales. So
Okay, perfect.
he's all right.
Perfect. That could have gotten awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
His name was never mind. We're not going there.
Yeah.
All right. And so I won't ask you because I'll ask you a different question.
Okay.
But to either one, Rob or Spencer, the guys who've been there for a long time, what positive shifts? We don't need to talk about what wasn't good before because I know that the Murphy family tries really hard to create a successful environment for everyone who works there. What positive shifts have you guys seen in the way that you're able to make a living and work with clients since we started working with you guys July 2021 again?
I think
August, whatever month it was.
Yeah, I think it's just additional structure that sets the trainer for financial success and then also the client for reaching their goals. Yeah, I think that's that's like one of the big things.
Well, what's different
Maybe
about the
take that.
financials? So how many, I mean, you were doing 100 sessions a month before we got there,
Yeah.
you personally.
Yep.
What's different about your ability to achieve financial success now? You were already busy.
Well, we're offering more value, so we are charging more, but the trainer is able to take home more.
Do you know how much money you're charging above what you were charging before
Oh, on average, it's almost $35, $40 more
per session?
per session. Yeah.
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 Do you remember what you guys said when we were like, all right, so we're going to jack prices up by like $45 a session?
I didn't want to look scared, but I was scared.
No shit, you were scared.
Scared at all. I was fine with it.
Were you?
Well, I was trying.
I think I actually said we should have been charging more.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I heard a quote that I really like. It's the thing that we are aiming to hide the most about ourselves is the thing that is the most obvious to everybody around us. So if you think that we didn't know that you were scared, it's cute.
I tried.
It's all good. But what was that like? So the people who are going to listen to this are coaches like you guys.
Yep.
They are gym owners. They are managers. And the biggest fear that they have is around, well, if we increase our prices in that kind of a way, everyone's going to leave. And I'll give you a simple example of a client who we're working with right now, or a prospect who's about to be a client. Their gym is doing very well. They have a successful personal training department. They're undercharging by an average of probably $20 to $25 per session. And they're wondering, how are we going to afford to pay for Active Life, right? If we were to work with their club, ultimately it would end up being right around, I'm doing some quick math in my head, carry the one, $10,000 a month. And they're like, well, how could we justify that? How are we going to make that money back? Like, well, you guys right now are doing 600 sessions a month as a department.
That's good.
Yeah, it's great. If we're $10,000 a month and we change your pricing such that you're charging $25 more per session and you don't lose sessions, well, you just more than paid for us. You're profitable on it.
100%.
But to them, the fear, and it's reasonable, is, well, if we do that, we're going to lose a lot of clients and have to rebuild. So I would love to hear you guys talk about what that phase was like.
So, I mean, to speak to that point, I think it's a lot of the education that we were provided by you guys and the value that we were able to deliver to our clients in a way that we couldn't do before.
What's an example of that?
So, I mean, for me, perfect example, I can use one specific client who was paying the old rate of $45 a session, and now she's paying double that and seeing me more frequently just off of the ability to dive deeper into her problems and some of the things that she's dealing with, or do things that I would not have done prior to your guys' education, like sitting down and coming up with a structure for how to set her up to sleep better at night, which then has her more proactive during the day and then in a better mood, and then coming into the gym and being in a better mindset, and just all those little steps that get her to a better her that we weren't doing prior to the education that we got from you guys. So the value and building that value in, I think, adds tremendous wealth to us and to any department decides to work with you guys.
When we first started working with you, you and I sat down,
Yep.
right? And we had a sales conversation that we got 19, 20 clips out of, and we turned it into a sales series on YouTube, and it was a lot
I
of
still
fun.
watch that to this day sometimes.
Look, I go back and watch old stuff that I created, and I'm like, I forgot I said that. That's smart. I should keep doing that.
Yeah.
It's not just about me. I go back and watch all kinds of trainings that I've done in the past because it's the basics are the basics are the basics, and they work for a reason. What were your conversations like with clients when it was time to tell them, also, your price is going up by double, like it's going to double?
I mean, there was a little bit of some shell shock in the beginning. Obviously, most people are, whenever they hear something's doubling, they go, ooh. But I think with better conversation and just having them getting understanding of what I'm going to be able to provide them at a deeper level that I wasn't providing before, and how it's going to benefit them long term, I think a lot of people didn't push back too much.
It's interesting. Do you remember if your session count dropped?
It did not. It actually only went up.
From even when you increased the price, you were
Yeah.
saying, you were chiming in. And Spencer, is the role the personal training department manager?
It's a fitness director.
Okay. So you're overseeing all the session counts, making sure that leads are getting allocated appropriately to staff members,
Yes.
making sure that we're hitting appropriate KPIs for new members to consults to closes. You said yes pretty quickly there. Can you talk to me more about that?
Yeah, so, and I remember me and Rob and a couple other trainers had conversations where we converted clients we still have clients from the very beginning to level 3.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
It's okay. You're allowed to cough on the podcast.
I think I'm good now. All right.
Okay, good.
So, yeah, I was like, okay, all right. Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So,
First time I shouldn't be fucking with you so much.
So, we had clients that stuck with us from the beginning. And, one thing we made sure we did was talk to those clients like, okay, you're running out of your original package. This is what we're going to be doing for the rates. We kind of went over the basics because we're so new to it.
Mm-hmm.
We have Active Life here. We're going to be doing X, Y, and Z. We're going to take a step back. I'm almost going to reassess you almost like you're a new client. And then we've already built up that decent relationship with the client. Worst case scenario was like, all right, at least let me see what this is about. And we still have clients 2 years coming up that literally have doubled the price and they're still working with us.
I think that speaks to the trust that they have in us and the ability that they have trust in us and that we've set before even doubling our prices.
Yeah.
You're not going to buy from somebody that you don't trust. So they already had that established trust to begin with. And I think we just kept promising and delivering and promising and delivering on what we were saying.
Yeah. Like at least we set up enough to give us a shot to promote the Active Life way.
Yeah.
And we're able to do that.
Well, now it's the Gold's Newburgh way.
Yeah, you're right.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's not us. It's you. Like, we weren't. Everything that we do has to interplay with the gym where we're doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
So
true.
we weren't as successful working at your Middletown club as we are at your Newburgh club. The reason for that is in part the leadership that's in the club and in part the people who were on the staff. And, you guys being veterans, you guys being able to step up and be mentors to other staff members like Travis, who's joining you here today, that's a big deal, right? Because I don't know if you realize, but most clubs don't have the kind of dynamic that you're stepping into at Newburgh. Have you experienced that?
Well, it's like completely different environment that I've been in. So like this is my first experience in a big box gym, right? Because before that I was doing private sessions with groups, teenagers. Now it's like I'll see a 14-year-old athlete and then the next client's some 80-year-old geriatric. So it's like very diverse. And I couldn't tell you. It's like all I know is Gold's Gym Newburgh, right? It's not like I've been to another big box gym. I've been to this one. So it's like, this is a great setting. This is what I'm used to. Say I went to another gym and it was shitty. I'd be like, okay, like what's going on here? You know what I mean? Like this is my expectation and this is where you're at. So
We basically ruined you.
yeah.
It's small batch craft beer and
Yeah.
Keystone Light.
Yeah.
That's the truth. Like you're typically what happens in a commercial gym environment. And by commercial gym, I mean big box. You're over 12,000 square feet. The membership is people buy a membership to the gym, and then the idea is to help those who need more buy personal training or additional services. That's the business model I'm talking about. Not small group, not boutique, not fitness, not group. Usually the way that works is we're going to churn through trainers. And all of the trainers on staff, they are responsible for their own book of business, which is true for you guys too. But they are happy to do that at the expense of your book of business because it doesn't matter what you do as in terms of how they're successful, right? And there isn't a staff member looking out for another staff member. There isn't somebody like a Rob or a Spencer who's seeing a lead who they actually don't have time for in their schedule and delegating it to another staff member because they think that person can be helpful for that. And then the pay is typically you get $20. If you do 25 sessions a week, we'll pay you 22, right? So that's incentive. If you get to 30, we'll give you 24. So now you're really almost out of poverty. And if you can hit 30, 35 sessions a week, we'll give you $26. And at that point, you're almost making $1,000 a week. That's a good deal, right? No, it's a fucking terrible deal.
Yeah, good luck maintaining that.
Right. So we talk to gym owners often or management teams often, and they'll say, I have this one person who's absolutely crushing. I wish more people could be like them. I'm like, have you ever talked to that person and asked them how happy they are?
Probably not.
And they're like, no.
No.
I'm like, why not? I don't know. I just assumed that they would be. Ask that person how sustainable they're feeling right now. Right?
Yeah, no.
Talk to that.
Yeah,
Because I know you've been there.
Yeah, I've been. I mean, I think under the old regime, the most I've ever done was 170 sessions in a month.
170.
Yeah, and I wanted to pull my hair out. And the next month I did 159, and I missed my bonus, so I went down from $29 to $27.50 off of one session. Because the maximum back then you could cap out was 160.
Right.
And that was getting your $29 a session.
You said you wanted to pull your hair out. I bet if you were strong enough, because you had time to exercise.
Yeah,
you would have, but you were emaciated.
I mean, yeah, I only remember that number just because I remember when I put it in my commission sheet, I looked at it, I was like, I did it. And then we actually had a veteran trainer on the team who had a whole year of doing that. And he goes, do that next month. And I go, no,
right.
I don't want to.
Right.
He goes, yeah, it literally drains your life. You don't even remember who you are.
Well, and how good of a service are you providing doing that?
No, it was not even close. Like my person at 8 was at 8 in the morning, and the person I was getting at 8 o'clock at night were two different variations of Rob.
And what was your income like then as compared to what it is now doing, let's say, what, 60% of that?
I mean, I could just say within the 2 years of working with you guys, I went from 1 year from making, like 17, and then this year I made 52, so I almost tripled my income.
17K full time, up to 52.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you remember what you said you wanted when we came in the first day?
Yeah, that was the magic number.
50.
It was 50.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was so wild to me, by the way. You guys should know that. When we came in, you weren't there yet, Travis. We met with every trainer on staff one-on-one. And we were like, look, we're in a safe room. You can tell us the truth. And we will tell Don and Mary and the rest of the team that we heard these truths thematically, but not that Rob said this, Spencer said this, Whitney said that. Like, you guys are safe to tell us the truth. And we told the Murphys before we came in, this is what we need to be able to do if you want us to help you. And they were like, we're fully on board for it. And we started asking, like, what's the number that you need to make in order to feel whole if you were working 20 to 25 training hours a week on the floor? What would your number be? Have you ever thought about that?
No, I've never thought about that, to be honest with you.
Okay.
So young.
Yeah.
Right? Right? The most common number thrown out there was 50K a year. Now, my first thought was, well, that'll be easy, right? How do we get them? How do we get them to think bigger than that? Because 50K isn't going to be enough long term. They're going to want more. They're not going to realize that right now because they're 20 and below 20. But when they get to 50, they're going to be like, okay, I feel safe now. How do I build something for myself? Which I imagine is where you're kind of at right now.
Yep.
Yeah. But 50 was a number for everybody. And so first of all, I'm pumped you got there in less than 2 years.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's very cool.
What's the hardest part of the job? Any of you?
I mean, I would say, I don't call it the hardest part, but it's probably the most taxing is just having to be a different person for every person that you have. So sometimes, like, you can have a long day, you can have 8 sessions, and you have to be 8 different people. And then
What do you mean by that, 8 different people?
So every client requires a different level of attention, a different level of coaching. Sometimes they're more, I'll call them therapy sessions than actual training sessions, because the mindset and what someone's going through before they get into the gym can play into how they're training throughout that day. So sometimes you have to scale back and see what's going on. So sometimes you have to give a lot of yourself out very often, very frequently. And at the end, you can kind of like get a little lost on who you are and what you need to do for yourself too, to keep yourself in check. That's probably the hardest part I find at my career right now as a trainer.
I agree. It's we were talking about this earlier about like shifting gears from client to client. Set an example of the 12-year-old versus the next client being 79. Can't talk to the same way the 12-year-old to the 79-year-old. So it's that quick shift of gears. And we're talking about like, man, maybe like 15-minute breaks in between sessions. Could that work out somehow?
Yeah.
And it's like, that would be great.
Well,
it would be so much, I would feel whole as a trainer.
So part of that is a session not needing to take a full hour.
Yep.
Right.
Talk about that too.
Yeah.
I know we've talked about that in the past. I know it's hard to put that into practice when you're so used to doing hours. Most of the sessions at the flagship that you guys were at this morning, they end in 50 minutes or less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some are 40,
Yeah.
right? And if you're doing that, scheduling on the hour gives you a 10-minute break between each client session. Have you thought about doing that?
Personally, yes. Not as a whole team, but I think that's something that we could all benefit from.
Well, it's not a practice. You don't make it where like, okay, our sessions are 50 minutes because remember, we're not selling time.
Yeah, we're selling sessions.
Right.
Yeah.
But what you're able to do is, for example, Janie requires a lot of your energy. But Mary doesn't. Nick doesn't. Well, Janie, I'm not going to put somebody at the hour right after her hour. I'm going to give myself 5 or 10 minutes here.
Yep.
Other people require less attention from you. Well, now all of a sudden, okay, well, then where do I want Janie to fit in my schedule? This is when you start playing client Tetris.
Gotcha.
And you set your day up in such a way that it allows you mentally and emotionally to be successful. So there are certain clients who, when I used to work with one-on-ones, I would only take them right before my lunch break. Oh, are you available at 9? No. I saw you walking around the gym the other day though at 9 o'clock. You don't have a client that time. You're not free. That's my thinking time. And I put it in my schedule always so that I know that I have the opportunity to think things through.
Yep.
Well, great. Okay, we'll keep training at 11:30. Like, give yourself the ability to set your schedule up in such a way that you're accounting for the emotional load of your client and the time that their sessions take. Whenever possible. Obviously, it doesn't always work that way, but
Yeah, I've tried to be a little more intentional with that, but also cleaning up my session and seeing where I can cut some of the fat out and be more precise and effective with how we train, so that I can allot myself to have a 15-minute break in between a session or something like that, to be like, all right, regather, because you have Vernon coming in or you have Liam or whoever, and just kind of like prepare
Vernon's
yourself
still
for.
coming in, huh?
Oh yeah,
love it.
I mean, and that's the one thing too. I would say even with the pricing increase, we've retained a lot of our same clients that we've had.
Well, I'll share with you a little bit about my schedule when it's well managed. And I go off the rails. I'm like anybody else. But when my schedule is well managed, my Mondays and my Fridays, I don't allow any maintenance work on those days. So maintenance work would be like a long day answering emails, writing copy that needs to get written for something that's coming out, working with client mentoring. None of that happens on Mondays and Fridays, generally speaking. That all happens Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Mondays, I'm prepping for the week mentally. Fridays, I'm recovering from the week and making sure if anything got missed, I can wrap it up. My mornings are meant to be when all of the work that must get done gets done. My afternoons are meant to be when the work that I want to get done can get done. So mornings are get to work. Afternoons are creative opportunities.
Gotcha.
Right. So when you're thinking about your client rosters, you have the same kind of ability.
Yep.
You don't have to do 5 sessions Monday through Friday each day with a 30-minute gap in between. So now all of a sudden you're doing 25 sessions in a week and it's monotonous.
Yeah.
You can do jam a Tuesday, jam a Thursday, a fair amount of clients on a Wednesday. Monday spend planning for all of them. Friday spend catching up with all of them. And a Saturday you have some clients as well because that they enjoy that. And loading your day heavy in the morning for client load, afternoon for client programming, all that kind of stuff.
Yep. I mean, one thing I definitely have implemented that's helped is I've always been a hard out by 1 o'clock on a Friday. So I have myself, I tell people, because they'll ask, hey, can you do 3 o'clock? I'm sorry, I can't. Because my hard out at 1 allows me to start my weekend, recover, refresh, things like that. So I'm trying to implement some of those healthy practices to help with that.
I want to suggest a language tweak for you there.
Okay.
Instead of saying, sorry, I can't, take the power of it.
Okay.
And say to them something along the lines of, I reserve Friday afternoons for myself.
Gotcha.
What the small change there, just to give you some clarity, is you're no longer apologizing for putting yourself first. And sorry, I can't isn't true. You can. You're deciding not to.
Yeah.
I'm not available at that time. I reserve that time for myself. Is someone will hear that and go, oh.
Yeah.
It changes the level of respect
Yep.
and it changes your self-respect.
Yeah, some people do say, oh, good for you, you deserve it. I'm like, oh, thanks, I do.
Yeah, 100%.
And that doesn't hurt your business at all.
No.
It's not like your numbers are going down because you've taken essentially what people say a half day on Fridays.
I think it helps your business.
Yeah, I remember when I
Exactly.
used to work Friday nights when I had to crank out, 160, 170 sessions a month, and it was terrible because then I would be right back to the gym on Saturday morning, and I was just like, oh my God, I never leave.
Yeah, but you only took Sundays off back then. Right?
I only took, now I take whole weekends off.
There you go.
Yeah, Saturday and Sunday. And
Do you really?
Yeah.
So full time without working a weekend day.
You will not find me there on a Saturday, Sunday working. You'll find me there working out maybe, but not working.
Talk to me about that. When you're working out in the gym, any of you can answer this. How often are you getting approached by clients or by prospects, just by regular gym members?
Regular gym members all the time. Like clients and prospects, typically they know, at least for me, they'll see me at a certain point, they can talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
But always gym members.
What do you do about it?
Very friendly, engage, talk, take the earbud out. If it's a question or something real quick answer, and then get right back to it. Most people don't keep you too long, that I find.
Right. What about you? You threw a smile on your face like we were going to a party after this.
About working out in the gym?
About clients, people coming to you when you're working out in the gym.
Not too much. Usually like clients that I've had or clients that I'm working with, but in terms of like members, probably not.
Okay.
I guess I have an intense face when I'm working out at the gym.
You are scary.
Yeah.
Is he?
He has his death
Well,
stare.
Yeah.
When I work out, like I got a mindset and
He's a CrossFit guy. He just,
yeah.
Mm.
So I'm very much in tune with what I'm doing.
So are you the guy who's trying to jam a CrossFit workout into the gym where it doesn't fit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically.
He's like, oh, can I drop? You guys got any chalk? Is that you?
What?
Are you
Chalk?
asking for chalk? Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No chalk.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. What about you?
I have, but it's never a lingering conversation. Like, I walk around with just one headphone in anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Just I'd like to be
Is that to make
somewhat
sure that
alert.
you'll hear someone if they're going to jump you from behind?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't,
Street smarts, I appreciate that.
I think it's the problem is like just being in the gym, always working there. It's like I'm always on high alert.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm at another gym, it's like, I'm got the Travis face on.
yeah.
But
It's vacation mode when you go to a different gym.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, it is. I have people talk to me, and it's usually it doesn't take too much away. So 2 minutes, and if it's like a prospect, it's like, yeah, I'll contact you when I finish up. I'm actually gonna get on shift in about 10 minutes or so. And they're like, okay, cool, that's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think I've ever had anybody linger too long. I don't know if other trainers have either. It's
If
actually,
anything, it's just the friends that you've made
Yeah.
at the gym
Mhm.
that will kind of like bog down your own personal workout. But,
Yeah.
It's the social component.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not people
Yeah.
asking you for professional support.
no.
no, it's not that bad.
No.
What I find is I remember when I was a trainer in a gym like you guys, it was Equinox for me. Once or maybe twice a week I'd work out there, and I had a membership somewhere else
Yeah.
because I wanted to be unknown. I wanted to be the guy who could just walk in, do my thing.
Yeah.
No one knew I was a trainer. Trainers would come up to me and be like, "Can I show you how to do that better?" I'm like, "No." Like, not because I know how to do it great, but because you came up to me like an asshole,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And just being able to go do my own thing and not have to think about anything. But I do think it's very cool that you mentioned friends that you've made in the gym, because one of the common, I think, misperceptions in small group environments, you're a CrossFitter, is that your background?
Yeah. CrossFit, powerlifting.
So in those worlds, there's a lot of talk about community and people being friends.
Yeah.
The social component of it, right?
Yeah.
And there's the thought that doesn't happen in 86,000 square foot golds,
Happens all the time.
right? But would you agree that that's the thought process?
Yeah. Especially with people, CrossFit and Gold's Gym. It's like two different thought processes.
Tell me more about that, because you are a CrossFitter. You identify with your exercise as CrossFit and powerlifting,
Yeah.
and you are a trainer at Gold.
Yep.
Where do those two worlds misunderstand each other most?
Well, I think I could speak for a lot of people when they hear the word CrossFit, right? Some of them cringe, or the first thing they go to is pull-ups, right? Do a real pull-up. I'm like, okay. Not that I do butterfly pull-ups in Gold's Gym, because I don't feel like drawing the whole gym looking at me.
Right.
But
That's interesting.
yeah.
Okay.
It's just, I feel like there's a super negative connotation, if I even pronounce that right, with CrossFit, especially if you're doing it at Gold's Gym, right? Because Gold's Gym is bodybuilding,
Right.
right? Arnold.
Well, you have 10,000 members. I think 3,000 of them are silver sneakers. So that, like, some of that's true, but you're right about
True,
the
yeah. Well, when
the
you, like, if you
reputation.
were to go there on a Thursday night, like,
Oh, yeah.
most of the people there, right?
Meat
I'm
market.
doing, like, power cleans and snatches in the corner or something. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
else is doing, bodybuilding type workouts. Now, granted, there's, like, a niche amount of people that are always in the same spot, and we kind of know each other, right? Like, either powerlifters or CrossFitters, whatever you want to call them.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cool little tight-knit group, but at the end of the day, it's like there's always going to be that negative thing with CrossFit, especially at a big box gym like this.
What is the negative thing though? What do you like if you were to ask a member?
Okay.
Because what I think your unique experience is, and I share it with you,
Yeah.
is that you understand what a CrossFitter's intention is, and you understand what a Gold's Gym member's intention is, and very much so they're the same.
Yeah.
Right? They have different ways of achieving a very similar outcome, but they both believe the other one's an idiot.
Yeah.
Right? and neither is. But so I want to hear you talk about the difference between like why do they think that about each other and where do they have it wrong?
So the biggest thing, and I'm sure you've heard it, is CrossFit is performance based, and everybody says you're gonna get injured doing these stupid lifts, especially under fatigue, right? Which is like, okay, I am. At the end of the day, I'm doing a performance sport, right? So possibility of injury is you could do that literally anything. You could do that doing dumbbell bench press, barbell bench press, overhead press. You could do that playing baseball, football, soccer. Anything you ever do, there's a risk of injury, right? I just like to take it to the next level and, you know, snatch heavyweight, power clean heavyweight, do these crazy
What's
workouts.
your snatch, bro?
Not very good. I have bum shoulders. The most I ever snatch is 175.
Bum shoulder. This guy works as a trainer at Gold's Gym Newburgh. You can't have bum shoulders.
I rehab them very much back to strength, but I don't know about snatching, 300 pounds.
Okay.
That's a little much. But yeah, it's just this huge. Listen, that's my realm, and I like doing that.
Right.
I like branching into all these different.
So now,
ones.
what does the CrossFitter have? What are they misunderstanding about the? What is the CrossFitter misunderstanding about the Gold's member?
At least from my mindset and my perspective, it's the performance based, right? Bodybuilding's about aesthetics, right? So there's a completely different, not completely different mindset from aesthetics to performance based, especially with the way you're training and the mindset. They kind of bash, at least from what I've seen, culture wise.
But what is the misunderstanding? What does a CrossFitter think about a Gold's Gym member that's not true?
I mean, I don't. I guess if I'm looking at it specifically from a CrossFit perspective, I think the stuff you're doing is stupid and most of it's not functional.
Right.
And I would never do that for myself because I am strictly performance based.
Right.
And I think the other way, it's like you're stupid because you're going to get injured doing these idiotic things.
Right.
And it's just like, boom. It's like, all right, well, at the end of the day, we're all moving and trying to better our lives. So what the hell is the issue?
Right.
You're going to come up to me and give me a problem. Not that that's ever happened. But I'm like, if you do, go F yourself because you shouldn't be in the gym anyways.
But that's well said. And I think it's important that people hear that kind of stuff because there is this misconception that everybody who does CrossFit is going to get hurt.
Yep.
That they're trying to do the same, like you're not trying to do the same pull-up that this other person is trying to do. It's a different movement altogether. And we understand they're not the same. It doesn't mean you can't do the other one if asked to. And on the other side, just because you're bodybuilding doesn't mean that you have no concept of what functional exercise means. Right? I used to tell people all the time, I'm like, when I would do bodybuilding workouts, look, that's not functional. I'm like, no. My wife likes pecs and I have 3 kids. It seems like it's pretty functional to me. Right?
Yeah. There isn't a lore to it, yeah.
What's that?
There is like
like look, it's one of these things where different strokes for different folks.
100%. Yeah.
It's if we can all be active and we can all be aware of why we're doing what we're doing, then it doesn't matter what we're doing.
Exactly.
As long as we have consciousness around it. Travis, do you have trouble like working with older clients? Do they look at you and be like, "You're 24 years old. What do you know about me?"
No, because I've actually spoken to Dr. Killian about this, right? I think I'm very in tune with my programming, and shout out Dr. Killian because he's helped me a lot with my sales.
Dr. Kalen?
Dr. Killian. He's helped me a lot with my sales, right? I've hit like roadblocks with people, and I always tell him like, dude, there's in my mind, I'm like, there's no way you're going to be able to give me an answer. And he's always fed me answers, and I'm just like, this is insane.
So Dr. Kalen is your active life mentor?
Yes.
Awesome.
He's actually
See,
all
of
of
you?
ours.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We're all mentees.
Well, Kalen's circle. He'll be here next week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're flying him in from Idaho.
Damn, we mistimed this.
We'll come back.
We'll just come back down next week. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I wouldn't say there's been an issue there, especially like we were talking on the way here, being like in our thought, being like the figure that they could look up to and respect, especially as somebody who's young like me. It's like, hey, I mean, give him like a month with me and just be like, hey, he's 24, but this kid he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's talking about. Maybe we're not going to be on a personal level where I could, talk with him about everyday things because he's 80, I'm 24. Some people I can, but at the end of the day, it's like they're getting the results that they want, right? So in my mind, it's like, and I've never had a bad relationship with anybody that I've trained before. But you know, people at the end of the day, most of them are coming in for the results, right? So if you finish a 24 pack and nothing's changed, then they're like, all right, what are we doing here? But at the end of the 24, it's like, okay, we have some sort of progress we made. I don't know, that could be measured however, but yeah.
All you got to do is find something that you have in common.
Yeah.
It could be,
That's true.
I like purple. You like purple too? Cool. Why do you like purple? I don't know. I don't know either.
We're best friends.
It's just amazing. You want to go do bicep curls in front of the mirror?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's what you're saying is true. You don't need to be the same age. You don't need to have the same goals to be able to relate to somebody. You said one thing that I want to give you a heads up will change.
Yeah.
That is, you've never had a bad relationship with anyone you've ever changed. Right?
I will say not terrible. I've had hiccups where I'm like, dude, like, what are we doing here?
Even that, likely to change. There will be one person you work with who you will remember for the rest of your life, who will be the person you're like, I thought I did everything the way that they wanted, but I guess I didn't. I don't know. And I asked them, but they won't tell me.
Yeah.
That will happen. Maybe. Right? It probably happened to me more often than it needed to because I was a little headstrong. But have you had an experience like that? You don't need to share it, but have you had an experience where a client was like,
Oh yeah, yeah. Especially in my earlier career.
have you?
Yeah.
Right? It's par for the course.
Yeah, it does.
So
happen.
when it happens, telling you now, you'll remember, you'll think back to, I think Sean said that in the podcast studio. It's okay.
Yeah.
You're not a failure for it.
Sometimes you don't even know what happens because the person just ghosts you, and you're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh,
and then you find out from somebody else.
Yeah,
Oh, they were
yeah.
really talking bad about you. What did you do? I got word from a friend of mine. He was like, yo, if you listen to this podcast, I'm not going to share which one it is. I'm like, no, I never listened to that podcast. Why? He's like, this guy was on this podcast and he spent 20 minutes shit talking you. I was like, really? He's like, dude, I would have, he said to me that my friend, this is how my friend speaks. His name is Stu Brower. His company is called What the Fuck Gym Talk. So this won't be surprising. He's like, dude, it sounded like you fucked his girlfriend in front of him and smiled the whole time. I don't know what you did to this guy, but he really doesn't like you.
Stu sounds like a cool dude.
And he's like, you got to listen to it. I'm like, I'm not going to listen to it just because I do enjoy that combative back and forth, and I don't need it in my life.
Did you not listen to it?
I did not listen.
I would be so curious to know. I want to know what that guy said about me
It's
now.
hot stuff.
Yeah,
Heavy,
that like
heavy,
especially
like,
for
which-
that type of like feedback on what it was, I would want to know.
He said for 20 minutes he went in on
20.
me.
That's a lot of shit talking for 20
Especially
minutes.
the guy he was talking about was he was someone who a staff member of ours was friendly with before he was a staff member of ours.
Okay.
He referred this guy to me because he was dealing with an injury and he had a big event coming up. And my recommendation was, you have a really big event coming up in 4 weeks. You have an inconsequential event coming up in a week. My recommendation would be to play it safe. Skip the event that's a week away that you don't have to be at, that won't pay you a ton of money for the sake of making sure that you're good to go for the really big event. He was like, okay, thanks. I appreciate your feedback. And did both of them, won both of them. Good for him, right? I never thought about it again.
Yeah.
This is like 5 years ago. That was our whole relationship. The whole thing was that. And apparently he went 20 minutes on me on a podcast, and I won't listen to it. It's not necessary.
There was a nerve struck there.
But right?
Yeah, you pushed the button. I don't know what button.
I pulled
You
the
pushed
lever, bro. I didn't push the button.
that's the slot machine.
That was pull the lever, push the button.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jackpot, baby.
all of the jackpot. Not the one I wanted to hit, but
No.
all that to say, you'll hear through the grapevine that someone you worked with thinks you suck, and that's okay. Advice to trainers who are not in your club, and forget about telling them to work with Active Life. Everybody understands already that you would tell them to do that. You don't need to tell them. What I'm getting at is, you be you. Don't promote us. What is advice that you would give to a trainer? You've been in the industry now for what, 10 years, Rob?
11 or 12, yeah.
11 or 12. What's advice you would give to a trainer that is something that you've learned over those 11 to 12 years that would have changed your career if you learned earlier?
That's a good question. I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is like, pay attention to why you want to do it. Have the intention of wanting to truly help people, and don't do it just because it's either a quick fix for easy money or you think it's just cool to work in a gym. I would say all the trainers that I've met throughout my career, the most successful ones, have done it because they want to see other people get better and truly focus on helping the client, and it only will add benefit to them and promote their career further. So just have a true intention on why you want to get into this field.
That's good. What do you,
I can't even
Spencer?
piggyback on that. And
This guy doesn't have any of his own ideas.
no, well, I do. And the funny thing, my answer is related but not related.
Go ahead.
But I was gonna say
Like
almost
a second cousin. So it's okay if she's really hot. Okay.
Only in some circles.
right? Defense player, right? But I would say for trans to always think outside the box and even take the time to always reevaluate themselves personally in their career, to be a better trainer, be a better coach, and really always to look to learn. That's kind of like my big takeaway.
What's the last thing that you looked at that you were doing in that case that you changed?
I mean, just from today, I think how we were talking about breaking down this session, not always going all the way up to the minute of the hour. Allow, like, okay, we finished everything that I had programmed for you. Any questions, anything you disliked or really liked that we did today? Just that little bit of questioning leads to some really big stuff. It's like, oh, wow, he really cares. And it's like, Spencer, tell you the truth, the biceps curls we did, I didn't like them. Like, okay, let me scratch that off. You don't need them.
Yeah, constantly working on yourself, constant feedback on what you can improve upon.
I think
Language and how you speak and talk to people and how they're speaking and talking to you, I think also is a massive thing, because that tells a lot more than what, because I can be saying, oh, this is great, but like I'm giving you so many different feedback signs other than this is great. So
Yeah. I hired a relationship coach once, and one of the things she taught myself and my wife to do was have a monthly relationship boardroom meeting. So it was like, how am I showing up as a father? How am I showing up as a husband? How am I showing, and all these different categories, so that we can start to evaluate. And then the same for her, so we can evaluate where we need to be better for each other, and where we're saying, I understand why you would like me to do this way. I actually am not interested in doing it that way. So what can I do that would give you that feeling without doing that thing? Because that thing is not something I want to do. Yeah. We've adapted that our own way, where we have it more frequently and less intensely, because it works better for us, but it changes the way we talk to each other.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's crucial. And I would ask you the same question, but you got to be 10 years in to answer that question. What advice would you give to a young trainer? So someone right now is, what's up?
His reaction was like, no, you're right. I need to be 10 years in.
What advice would you give to a young trainer?
New trainer coming on.
Someone's about to start working at Newburgh.
Yes.
They are 24 years old.
Yeah.
They love doing CrossFit.
Yeah.
But the gym they work at won't allow them to do personal training in their gym, because for whatever reason, those people don't need personal training. Just ask the gym owner.
Yeah.
Right? So you come and you get a job at Gold's Gym Newburgh. This person just signed on to work on staff. Their name is Luke.
Yeah.
This isn't a real person, but you're seeing where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah.
Luke is 24 years old. He snatches 175. Okay. What would you tell Luke he needs to be thinking about on his first day?
You need to be going in there as a sponge, look around the gym, not looking like you don't want to be there, and creating conversations with people, even if you don't want to, because those first 3 to 5 months, it's going to be hard building up your schedule, right? And as you're building up your schedule, you're going to be taking on people that you don't want, because you're going to be filling those slots because you want to get to, full time, right? Mm-hmm. But as you, start to fill your schedule and you're getting clients on a daily basis, you could start to reallocate some of those and start taking on clients that you actually see yourself doing good work with, rather than just taking everybody in. And once you hit that mark, it's going to get a lot more smoother. Mm-hmm. Just get through those first 3 to 5 months. Not that those are terrible, but you need to get over that hump so you can be to where you want to go.
Okay. So if I'm hearing you correctly, it's show up, smile,
Yeah.
make friends,
Yeah.
want to be there,
Yeah.
work hard, be grateful.
Yeah. Be above the standard. Don't just aim for the standard.
Okay. What's the standard?
Standard there?
Anywhere.
There anywhere?
How do you know what the standard is?
You look around the room and you read what everybody else is doing,
Okay.
and that's probably the standard there. So it would be one step above it.
What is the standard that you saw at Newburgh that you were like, I'm going to go one step above that?
The standard at Newburgh Gold Gym.
Don won't listen to this. I promise. We won't let Don hear it. I'm just kidding. Yeah, Don's in my pocket. I hear Travis talking about a standard. No, I'm just kidding.
Standard at Gold's Gym when I first got there.
What is a standard that you saw that maybe is still a standard that we're happy to be the standard that you said I'm going to go above a level below that, above that?
The standard was, come in, train your clients. However, everybody goes about it differently, and either work out when you're done, go home, just like a normal day, right?
What'd you do?
What I did, so when I first got there, right, I got my level 1 first, I think, right? And then I took about 3 months off to go get my CSCS, which I actually failed the first time. So I got my level 2 now, and I'm going to resit for the CSCS. And then
Your Gold's Gym level 2.
Yeah, Gold's Gym level 2.
Direct.
So I'm going to resit for this exam again, pass it, and then I'm just going to keep looking to stack on top of that. I don't ever want there to be dead space, right? I'm always doing something consistently.
Okay.
So that's what I would
have a
preach as
growth
being.
mind about the way you're learning.
Yes, don't just be stagnant. If you're there stagnant, I don't want to be around you, and you're just unmotivated.
Okay. Do you have conversations with your friends about like the Mets, the Yankees, sports, or no?
Sometimes. I have a really small knit group of friends.
Are those conversations hard for you?
About what, sports?
Like just superficial sports, bands, things like that?
Yeah, if I see somebody going about their life, I'm like, the fuck are you doing, dude?
So intense. I love it.
I see somebody just living. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Oh, yeah. It's like,
Do more.
Just want to watch baseball tonight. Sorry.
No, I get it. I'm not picking on you. My wife and I have this problem. She's great at small talk with anybody. People see my wife, they love my wife. They see me, they're like, that guy doesn't look like someone who's very friendly. No matter how hard I try to be friendly.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, I don't really care that the Mets signed that guy.
Yeah.
I
I also agree.
I
When
don't
people
know
are
who
so
he is.
into the sports, I'm like, dude, I don't care about my life. I care about sports. It's like you are so in tune with everything that's going on in the sports team.
I play fantasy football just to stay in touch with my college friends.
Yeah.
It's a $500 donation every year. Like, here you go.
Want to join our league?
Huh? No, well, nobody's donation except my friends. Like I told them I was quitting the league, and they all just were like, "We're gonna tell everybody on Instagram that you're not a pro. It's more like turn amateur. He's a quitter. He's a fucking loser." And I was like, "All right, I'll play." I'm like, I miss this banter. I need people giving me this kind of crap on a regular basis. That's why I do it. So let's bring this thing home. Gym owners, coaches, managers are out there right now. We talk to them on a regular basis. They have fears about what we charge them for the service. They have fears about their ability to make an ROI. What must be true about the management and the training staff in their gym for what we do with them to be successful? I'm going to take an answer from each of the three of you. We're going to go clockwise. So we're going to start with Travis.
So reword that again. What must be true for what?
If a gym is thinking about working with us or a trainer's thinking about working with us,
Yeah.
what must be true about the leadership in that gym and the people they have on staff for us to be successful with them? Because we won't be successful with everybody.
What must be true for you to be successful with them?
For them to be successful with us.
Yeah. I would say, I guess it comes down to don't micromanage the people below you, right? You should have that leadership breakdown, right? I don't want to be micromanaged doing my thing around the gym because everybody has their own style, right? I guess it even goes beyond that. If you're just micromanaging me in any way, and, well, I guess, obviously, if you're not doing a good job, then it's like, what are you doing? If you're hitting your numbers and you're doing everything you're supposed to be, right, and you should instill trust in that person, then, like, don't be looking over my shoulder. I'm doing everything I need to do, and it should be pretty good.
So what I'm hearing you say is as long as management or leadership allows staff to do a good job and leaves them to their own devices to do a good job and trusts them,
Yes.
it'll work.
Yes. I think at least 99% of the time, because it starts to break down when you're doing, like, you're looking over and it's like you should be doing this and this and this. It's like, okay, that's what you think I should be doing. I'm doing this, this, and this, and I'm still being successful in what I'm doing. So why do you need me to change up what I'm doing? Just, there's levels to it.
You're talking about programming for clients and the way you spot them and things like that?
Yeah, just like how you go about how you work the gym with your clients on a daily basis.
Okay. I appreciate that feedback. One thing I will give you as feedback to that, and I like to do this with everybody, is keep in mind always that what someone might be doing in that situation is teaching you how to do it the way that they want everyone to know how to do it before they start to iterate and do it themselves. And it might not always be a lack of trust in you. It might just be these are our baseline protocols. Before we have you start to write your own, we want to make sure that you can do these, and then you can build upon them.
Yep.
All that to say, micromanaging a staff member is the fast track to losing trust and having them feel like you don't believe that they belong in the gym and are capable of doing what you hired them for. So I'm in full support of what you're saying. I just wanted to add that second piece.
Yeah.
For me, I would say supporting them in either setting up in a space that can be successful for the trainers, the staff to be training their clients in, set them up for success in whatever equipment they might need. Set them up so that they can deliver and provide the value and the service that you want them to provide for their future clients. And then also having trust in the people that you have and believing that, you're taking this investment because it's not a small amount of money when they work with you guys, that your team is going to be heavily involved and they're there for the right reasons and want to do good, honest work and help people.
Mm-hmm. I love it. The one piece of feedback I would give you there, for anyone who's listening to this also, is what you described was create a safe and inspiring work environment for staff to do a great job.
Yeah.
And then let them do a great job.
Yep.
The one piece to that is I think that sometimes there are staff members who go to an owner of a gym and say, we need this piece of equipment. And you don't need that piece of equipment. You need more creativity in your program design. We don't need to go buy a $20,000 hack squat that has knobs on it just because this person said that we need it.
Yep.
So it's towing that line of, if you're a staff member who's going to present to ownership the idea of purchasing a piece of equipment, understand how that piece of equipment is going to make it easier for all of the trainers in the club to be more successful using it, making them more money.
Gotcha.
Good feedback. Spencer, you're up.
So I think,
bring us home, baby.
So I think overall, everybody has to be all in on the idea of learning and even promoting the team atmosphere from top to bottom. I think not only your coaches should be doing education, I think even managers could and owners do the basics. They don't need to be going through every single thing, but just quick course, ethical sales, quick course on how to be a better trainer, coaching excellence,
Great
things
point.
like that. In this way, when you Active Life can take a step back, the gym is now, okay, we got this.
Mm-hmm.
And now I know even that manager who doesn't even touch the floor to work with clients at least did ethical sales and say, hey, what do you think about this? And this way you guys can come together on any questions you have about that topic.
I love that. So the feedback that you're giving is, if a gym is going to be successful with us, the management needs to be able to understand what the staff members are going through as they work through their day.
Yes.
So there are certain levels of the education that we build into the management part of education. You need to take it. You need to go through it. You need to do the assignments. You need to apply the material. You need to have conversations with the staff. If you're thinking that you're going to be able to do this, take a back seat, be inactive, be passive, and let the staff do all of the work and let us manage the staff. It's not going to work. Would you agree?
I think it'll be more efficient if the upper management has a little bit hands-on education.
Yeah. The one piece of feedback I would give to you from the other perspective on that, if there is one, is the upper management needs to be able to also understand what they need to go through and what the staff might think that they need to go through that they don't need to go through. And so what they need to do is enough to be able to demonstrate empathy and develop trust. And we put all of that in the program for management. What they need to be able to then do is take it as if it's not just a movie that they enjoyed watching, but put it to real use.
Yeah.
Guys, it's been fun.
Yeah, this was fun. First podcast ever.
Yeah.
First podcast ever.
I'm going to start my own.
Yeah, right?
I'm going to start my own.
Do it.
Spence, let's start a podcast.
Don't do it.
It's super easy. It's super easy. This room, don't be intimidated. This is super easy.
Okay.
If you guys have Instagram handles, give them to us. We'll make sure they're in the show notes so people can find you.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Rob asked that like a question. All
Oh,
right.
do you want them now?
No, I don't need them right now. You just
No.
give them to us. We'll put them in the show notes.
Yeah, okay.
You guys can click them. All right. Turn pro.